All right, we're back tinkering with the 10EE today a bit. Full disclosure, I should be working on a job that's out there on my trailer right now, but I make poor life decisions, and I would rather be working on the 10EE. So we're working on the 10EE a bit, getting my 10EE fix, and then we'll go back to the other job that I'm supposed to be doing. Leastways, that's my theory. So I've done a couple of things. I'll show you guys. I did this morning. I came in and pulled that shaft out, welded the hole shut, and then free-handed it back through there. Put the shaft back in, put the lever on it, trying to match the roughly 90-degree angle. It's kind of weird. They're downhill a little bit as far as I can tell. Anyways, and then free-handed my way through there. What I did is started it with the handle on, then took it off and tried to match as closely as I could. They've got this, it's at a kooky angle where it's kind of going through at an angle like that. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but anyways, tried to match that and got it close enough that then I was able to take a taper reamer and run it through there with the handle in place and get that reamed and get the pin back in it. So the only thing I've got is that I ended up a little bit snug. It's got a little bit of drag to it because it's hard to describe. These have some end play, and I ended up in a little bit tight. I may take this off and just sand a little off the face of the handle, but I haven't quite decided yet. What I'm doing now is taking the bottom off the apron because I understand these things have got an oil pump in them, and I want to see what it's got for a pickup screen, or like I say, I'm not at all sure how this system works. Oh yeah, there's a felt in there. Oh yeah, look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that. There's water. I'm pouring it out on my floor, but nasty sludgy stuff. That's the reason we're taking this off. I don't want that garbage getting pumped around into my saddle. So the screen itself is surprisingly clean looking. I'm going to blast it out with some brake parts cleaner. I don't have a gasket for this. I don't feel like making one, so I'm going to put a little bit of sealer on it and put Humpty Dumpty together again is my plan. Set you guys up on a stand here where you watch the fun. Say brake parts cleaner. Gum solvent.
I wonder where you put that gum solve.
Alright, man, I don't want to watch out wiggles and spraying around in here. I don't want to blast your eyeball out.
I accidentally put the paper going in the wrong spot.
Alright.
Guess I'll have to set this over there. That's where I'm actually setting this side is over there.
The gasket pulled apart in about 3 different pieces, so I'm leaving the chunks of gasket that are stuck on here in place. Gooping her up good with this aviation former gasket. Putting Humpty Dumpty together again. And once again, if this decides to leak, it ain't the end of the world. I'll pull it back apart.
Are you putting in those new screw things?
I already put that in. That was a set screw for the handle over here.
if you put him back together again, then where is he? I can't see him. No, no oil, no oil. No, no. Oh, give me here.
Yeah. Oil.
Oh, where did it go?
That's okay. I don't mind if she's a little overfull.
Now we're
Well, hi there, everybody. I just thought I would shoot a little update. I've been pretty busy working on other stuff, but in between, we've done a little bit of exploring, and there's some ugly looking stuff in this box. So, maybe you can see that coil. I'm not sure. I guess it's probably a resistor. I'm not that great of an electronics expert, but I'm going to say that must be a resistor. Yeah, that's what they are. So anyway, you can see those resistors just falling apart up there. And then see the insulation melting off the wires on that coil. I'm going to assume that that coil is junk. And then in general, you see just a lot of residue in the bottom of the box, like just, I don't know, moisture, heat, something has got to it. And then the other thing that's got to it is see the chew marks on those wires, and then back in there, I don't know if you can see it back where it goes around the corner in there, there's actually some wire chewed bare. So anyway, I got some work to do. It was kind of a bummer because I was about to the stage of thinking I pulled the lid because I wanted to clean stuff up and consider, getting this thing wired over to 240 volts and try hooking her up to power. And now I've decided we ain't hooking nothing up to power until we swap some parts. Oh, here was something else that's a bummer. So that used to be a schematic, but it is so oil soaked and faded that it is completely unreadable. If anybody out there knows where I can find that, I mean, I have sent off a request to Monarch for whatever information they might have available, but I'd love to download a PDF or something of that if anybody has uploaded that somewhere and just start the investigation process. But otherwise, everything else is looking pretty good. Still trying to find one of these and honestly trying to understand exactly how it works. I'm a little confused by the pictures I see of these. Like I'm 100% certain now this one's not original, that I pulled it out of there, and this is some kind of a little latch mechanism. It looks to me like when you got the flat, they do have a flat from the factory. That lets you slide back and forth, and then you must rotate it a quarter turn, and then it locks into a notch every half an inch. And then I'm assuming there must be, I don't know, either a plate that bolts on here or something that goes on here that makes the two intersect each other. But At any rate, I could probably create such a thing, but I'd really like to just find an original. And so far, I see somebody's got one of these assemblies on eBay for $250, but all I really need is that rod. So I'm having a hard time convincing myself to bite the bullet, but we'll see. Maybe I'll end up regretting that and going back and doing it, or just saying to heck with it and making one. But anyway, that's just one thing. And the oil system does appear to be working on the carriage. I'm pumping what right now you can see the black line of oil across there. Like this nice stuff. So we're pumping oil for the first time in who knows how many years, and it's pumping nasty goop out. But anyway, otherwise, we're making progress. So I'm supposed to, I did, by the way, make contact. Friend of mine down in Indiana, Ben Thompson, he and another guy have got a used equipment business down there. And I'd called him up, and he actually had just sold one of these not long ago, and he hooked me up with the guys that bought it. And I really appreciate that they stripped one, pulled all the motor generator, DC drive stuff out, and converted it to VFD. And anyways, as a result of that, they were willing to make me what I consider to be a very fair offer on just buying all the components they stripped out. So hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, hopefully some of these parts that are looking sketchy in this one are good in that batch. But the problem is they are, I think, an almost 8-hour drive away. They're going to be coming north up to Indianapolis in the middle of next month for a trade show. So right now we're set up for me to go meet them and buy those parts and pieces off from them. But at any rate, I'm still very much interested to tail stock. I've been talking to a guy that's got one for $600, but it's got the balls broke off both handles on it, and it has the appearance of having been used pretty aggressively, and I'm torn on that. I don't know if I want to go ahead and bite the bullet with the assumption that I'm going to have to get another one at some point later and it's a temporary fix, or if I ought to just stick to my guns and wait until I find one that's really nice. But at any rate, that's the stuff we're working on at the moment. So I just figured I would give you guys another little just jab at here we're at. But ultimately, though, everything is moving, turning. I've been in here now and basically turned all the knobs and handles, and the spindle bearings feel very smooth. I don't feel any catchiness. Pretty common on old lathes that have sat a long time to start. You'll feel like varnish built up in the bearings. This one's feeling really good. So I'm hopeful that we get some power situation straightened out and get her hooked up to juice, that she's going to fire up and spin. And the other, I'll say, good thing is I have not seen oil pouring out of it anywhere. We'll see what happens when we spin it. And part of the reason I was concerned about that is, like, this gearbox was virtually dry. So I'm not sure. I'm kind of suspicious we're going to discover it's got some seals out in it and that it bleeds oil when we get it running. But that's kind of stuff that we'll find out when we get it going. I don't really want to do a full restoration on this. I want to get it to functional. I don't know how to put this. I'm not wanting to cut corners in the sense that I don't want to fix stuff. It's just I don't want to go in here and rip everything apart and replace bearings and seals and just go whole hog on it. I want to fix the things that need to be fixed and leave alone the stuff that's working okay. So that's why until I get it under power, I'm kind of a little bit stalled out, other than just cleaning and fixing and generally hunting up whatever little problems. Oh, one other thing I did see is I've spun the chuck by hand fast enough to at least see the tachometer wiggle a little bit. So that's encouraging, as I've seen a couple of these with the tachs that don't work. And I think, and this is me being hazy, but I think I remember hearing that there's a phenolic drive gear in there for those things. So I'm assuming when they don't work, there's a good chance that it's blown that phenolic gear. But this one appears to be making contact with the spindle and at least trying to spin. Whether it's accurate or not, we'll find out once we get the thing under power. But anyhow, so that is about the size of her. Once again, if anybody out there hears of any parts or pieces laying around that you see this one's missing or could use, I'd be interested in hearing. Like I say, especially, I'd really like, I'm not scared of the $600. I just like to find one that's nice enough to just be the final one the idea of buying one as a stepgap effort, I don't know. I'm not loving that idea. I'd really rather just find one that I can trust right off the bat.